Hi, before we continue, I would like us to remember what we have done until now. And just remember that we have discussed attitudes and the link of attitude and behavior. And we discussed how this is a bidirectional relationship. So if they can ask you a question, this could be a kind of question type 1. They can ask you with a scenario to demonstrate the direction between attitude and behavior and explain how the one changes to the other. At the same time, they can ask you a question type 2, where they can ask you to discuss the factors of attitudes, the factors influencing the attitude, and these factors, I remind you, are the social situation, and with this the context of the social situation, I want you to remember it is the attitude strength, the attitude specificity, the attitude accessibility, how quickly it comes to the mind, and the attitude ambivalence. If you want a way to remember triple SAA, or you can remember SASAS, where that will be specificity, accessibility, strength, accessibility, specificity, ambivalence, and all of this with the social situation. This is the order, if you remember, which is most important. Anyhow, they can ask you a question in this type 2 questions. They can ask you, okay, this is the attitude and this is the behavior. Identify how the strength, identify a factor, or discuss a factor, or explain a factor. So I want you to remember the key word, factors equals SASAS. I'm usually advising the students to go and discuss strength. That's the most important. And within the strength, I want you to remember we can discuss the direct exposure according to the example, or the indirect exposure. Of course, in the direct exposure, you can always mention and say things like how quickly it comes to the mind, accessibility, and this is connected how strongly has been learned. In direct exposure, you can learn that through observation, or you can learn that through conditioning, okay, upon conditioning. How we have this first one? This first one is a result of personal experience. This is the result of hearsay, or it is a result of advertisement. Okay, so this is what actually is the question related to factors requiring you to respond. A good scenario would be to give you a question where you have to explain the link and then use one of these factors. So it's a combined question for A plus. The next one we have done in the second in the second PowerPoint was the structure of attitudes. And I want you to remember that in the structure of attitudes, we had a model. Which model? A, B, C, which says that there is an affective component, there is a behavior component, and there is a cognition component. The affective is the like something versus dislike something. And dislike or dislike elicits to a specific action. And this is covered up or supported by the knowledge. The knowledge that this is good to me. Okay. I want to remind you the Vincent example with a bicycle. Vincent likes to ride his bicycle, and that's why we see him all the time riding his bicycle, even riding his bicycle to go to school. And he knows that riding his bicycle is good to keep him fit, and it's the only way he can exercise during the day. Okay, because he's very busy, because he's doing year 12 work. So this is a very good way to use this model, and always they ask either to, in all the exams, you will see it in the examples I gave you for revision, either they ask you to discuss structure or they ask you to discuss the other part, which are the functions. And I'm going to introduce it quickly. It's the last PowerPoint we're going to do today. So affective, A, B, C. Common mistake with the students, common mistake in the exams. Instead of writing affective, they write attitude, because they usually confuse that this attitude could be positive or negative. But actually the A stands for, not for attitude, stands for affection, how we predispose ourselves to the specific attitude, positively, negatively, neutrally. I want you to remember that the trick in this question, it is this. They can start from the behavior, and they can ask you to add the other components of the model. Remember, we call it the A, B, C, or the tree component. So how can they do that? They can ask you, okay, Alexandra is always, when she's stressed, solving maths problems. So Alex solves maths when she's stressed. This is behavior. So this is the action. What is the affective component of the model? Alex, you can go from the behavior to the cognition, okay? And you can go after that to the affective component, or you can discuss from this behavior the affective components directly and then go back to the cognition. So it doesn't really matter which way you're going to use. For this example, I will say Alex solves maths when she's stressed. Why? Because she knows, she has the knowledge that she will calm down. She will calm down. Why? She will calm down because her mind goes to solving the problem and not to the stress. So mind is diverted from the stress. And what is the affective component in this? The affective component is this is happening. Why? Because Alex likes maths. She would never do that if she was hating maths. So this is the affection. The attitude is, the affective component is that she really loves maths, and she's seeing maths as something relaxing, not stressing her. And last but not least, I want you to remember that that will be the question type 3, and they ask very often these questions. They had one in 2012, I think they had one in 2011 as well. We'll see in the examples. The last part in the attitude, before we go in impression formation, impression management, and persuasion. It is the Katz model. So Katz, psychologist and social psychologist of 1960s, developed a theory where he said that people actually developing this specific attitude, and to different people, even in the same family, they can have a different attitude towards a specific issue. Like, I love broccoli, my brother hates broccoli. I love bananas, my brother hates bananas. Why? Because of the specific purpose these attitudes are serving for this person. And these functions are four, and we're going to discuss them on the next slide.